Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here, your host for this fine Tuesday evening. It really does feel good to be back every Tuesday night, and we'll be back here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for quite a long time. It's going to be a long season. So Seat Time, definitely presented to you by Fly Racing. Really appreciate their support. Of course, if you'd like to support other people that do support Seat Time, we would really appreciate you checking out kindatire.com and stillwellperformance.com. We will be talking about them a little bit later in the show. Everybody gets their due diligence, if you will. They're huge supporters of the show, and we really, really appreciate that. Sounds like we've got a phone on in the audience as lots of things are going live, but that's okay. We're going to get to a little bit of the house cleaning after the fact. We only have Chris Bach for a little bit, and you can see I'm off to the left a little bit. We're also going to have a guest coming in, but he's running in hot. We're going to make fun of him once he does get here. We'll see how that goes. Chris Bach, while you're stepping away from the dinner table really quickly, how is your evening going?
It's good. Just want to say thanks for you guys for having me on tonight, and man, just kind of winding down after last weekend's opener and enjoying some bike week stuff. Did the ATV Supercross, went over and watched that, supported some friends I had racing that, and now just out for dinner and getting ready to head to Georgia for round 2 tomorrow. So pretty mellow. Right on, man.
Well, I have to say congratulations on a phenomenal podium performance this past weekend at the GNCC opener. I did get a chance to watch. I think I caught it like about after the first hour in, so I unfortunately did not get to see the very beginning of the race on the live webcast, but holy crap, that looked like a treacherous track. I definitely want to talk about that, but overall, I'd have to say you've got to be excited about the performance that you had there.
Yeah, definitely excited. I was pretty confident that I had a podium in me going in, and it was great to just put it all together. You know, it's been a year of work with myself and the team, and the bike has always been really good. It's just been fine tuning, and we finally found that perfect setup that fits me really well. And I was able to go ahead and put that thing on the box. And the off season was obviously really productive, and it showed as well. But man, the course was brutal, and I'm happy with a third. I'm happy with a podium, and just kind of get that milestone back under my belt with the JCR Honda team. And moving forward, though, you know, I definitely want to be number 2 guy, and I want to be knocking on Caleb's door to try to get him off his pedestal if I can.
Oh my gosh, talk about a pedestal. You are so right. Caleb Russell just kicking butt and just taking names, it seems like. He just came in with all kinds of momentum. Now, granted, he probably didn't do that great at some of the national enduros, even though he has the points lead, and by not great means he didn't win. Yeah. That's the standard of Caleb Russell these days. So, place, yeah, we do need to find a way to take him off that pedestal. So, Mr. Chris Bach, luckily, we just got our in-the-couch guest in this evening, Mr. Dillon Green. So what I think we need to tell him is that if you're ever going to wind up on a podium, you have to like be there. You have to, you first have to finish to win.
Yeah, you got to show up on time.
Yeah, showing up on time. You're definitely not going to win. You're not going to win an enduro. Yeah.
Well, tell traffic that, man. It blows.
I know. Welcome to North Dallas, Fort Worth. There's nothing great about this place except for us. And we're not even that awesome. So, man, you've raced some GNCCs. How tough is it for coming in these first rounds off of these off seasons?
The beginning one, the first one, Florida, man. Everybody's ready. Everybody's got their brand new stuff, brand new gear, new graphics. Everybody looks like they're number one, and so everybody's second guessing. Like, man, did I put in enough work? Did I do all this great stuff? And I know I was. And for these pros, man, it's really to show who's done the time, who's put in the work in the off season, preparing for all this stuff. And Chris, you really showed it on that Honda. You put it down out there. You got a good start. You got out there, and from what I heard, man, it was just a brutal track from River Ranch to the Mud Mucker. This one out of those two was just unusually rough, I heard, and it was a great thing to see you putting that JCR Honda up there and making it look great, because that's a great way to start off the season in the podium spot.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, guys. It's like I said, it's kind of been a long time coming, and definitely a lot of work. But in terms of the track, you guys are absolutely right. It was brutal out there. It was hot, and it really was kind of the opener that that we lacked last year. In all honesty, it wasn't going to be very hard to beat last year's event in terms of the course and stuff. Just not a lot of people were happy with it, but there's nothing they could do. They had a lot of rain down here last year.
Exactly.
This year's course was way better, a lot more River Ranch-ish in terms of a little more sugar sand, and the sand was deep. And the cool thing about this place, in my opinion, was it was all in the woods. River Ranch had a lot of big open areas, a lot of fields, and yes, it had big whoops, and yes, it had sugar sand, but you were going across the whoops in River Ranch like third and fourth gear.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was rough, but it's a little bit easier at that speed. And this race this weekend, you were in the woods. It was twisty the whole time. You could never get a lot of speed up. And you really were finding yourself just hitting the bottom of every single one of those holes. And that's what wears you out. If you can get up on top of those things, it's not as bad. But you just couldn't. You couldn't get the drive out of the corners. And as soon as you got the drive, you were back on the brakes to make the next one. So it definitely made for a long 3 hours. I think it was just short of 3 hours. But 80
sucks.
degrees and hot and nasty.
God,
Sounds like a day at the
terrible,
beach.
man.
But not the kind of day at the beach we all like. There was no chicks in bikinis. Everybody had gear on. They weren't just running around without shirts.
I heard the spectating was terrible. I really did. They're like, yeah, right off the start, they do some straights and into the woods, and you wouldn't see them until the finish. And because even the pictures, they're coming right out of the woods, 5 feet. There's the finish. And I was like, man, that's weird. There's no straightaways, and that, like Chris said, there's no time to pick the speed up, get anything, get the front wheel out of those holes, and that'll beat you down, man. Wow.
Well, so going into this round, I liked it because Dillon was talking about what everybody does during the off season. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to check in with you about, because I think this is a really impressive, kind of way to quote unquote come off the couch. Now, obviously, we all know as racers and riders that you guys are not on the couch. You guys are working your butt off. Like, it's the off season where you put in all your work, and it's during the season is where you just have to maintain that work. So kind of break down for us, what you guys worked on during the off season, and maybe not just yourself, but as a team as well, to really, come out swinging like you guys did.
Yeah, for us, it's, really once you get up here, if you want to be competitive, you don't really get an off season anymore. We went straight from Ironman, end of last year, straight on a plane to Argentina for 6 days. We were there for 10 days or whatever it was that we were in Argentina. Came back, took a couple weeks off, which really is just cleaning and reorganizing everything and kind of getting your thoughts back together. And then 1st of December, I was out and I headed out to California and stayed out at Johnny's place at the JCR shop and got the new bikes dialed in. And from basically middle of December up until right now, we've been wide open. And the cool thing is we came in for round one. We were prepared and ready to race 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I could have lined up and I feel had the same result with the same program, same package. And that's a really good feeling to have going in. Like you guys said, it shows who puts in the work. And especially a race like this weekend, it was a man's race out there. It was tough, it was hot, it was nasty. And the guys that put in the work kind of rose to the top. Caleb, obviously, he puts in the work. And I think what's helped me is I didn't take a lot of time off of racing. I know some of the other guys do the national enduros, but when I went out to California, even as we were doing initial testing with the 2015 bike, I was still doing local California races. I did some AMA West Air Scrambles, I did Atalanta,
right?
And just kind of staying in tune, and it helps you keep your aggressive edge, but it also takes off that edge of seeing you guys and lining up with them and all that. You don't go into that race, the first race, with as much pre-race jitters as you normally would if you haven't raced those guys, for 3 or 4 months or whatever it is.
Right.
Oh, exactly. That I didn't even think about that. That is true. Coming up to that line with all those nervous butterflies kind of helps, man.
Kind of like
he was comfortable.
What
yeah.
we saw Ryan Villapoto maybe on the GPs.
Oh my gosh.
We could talk about that too.
Yeah,
but,
that can be a whole other.
I think one thing that was interesting that I heard about on the GNCC, the live event that they had going, is they talked with Johnny a little bit about pitch strategy, and you guys actually planned and did run a little bit larger gas tank than what some of the other teams are going to. With the plan was to obviously have less gas stops, so there's less times filling up the bike. did that strategy work out? Did everything go to plan? And how did that run for y'all?
It definitely is going to work in our favor in terms of less pit stops, for sure. Anytime you're stopped in the pits, you're 5 to 10 seconds, whether you're getting fuel, gloves, goggles, whatever. You're stopping and you're losing time, so we can definitely capitalize there. The downside is, we are carrying a little bit more fuel. We're carrying a little bit more weight, but I'm sure you guys know the Honda's a pretty light machine straight out the box, so we need to carry just a little extra weight and fuel. Doesn't really affect the handling of the bike, and it doesn't affect me any. And IMS has made us a great tank this year with super slim fit. For me, I don't really feel that big of a change over a stock tank in terms of ergonomics of the bike and how it feels between my knees. And I only ride with my big tank. So when I go do moto, if I'm doing local races, motocross, GNCC, enduro, whatever, I don't switch back to the stock tank. I just run the IMS the whole time, and I'm used to it, and it doesn't affect me. So if we can be comfortable, which we are, and not have to stop those extra 1 or 2 times in a race, then I think we're definitely ahead of the game.
That's a huge deal, man.
Yeah.
I stopped 3 times before Ironman. I've done 3 pit stops.
Man.
Yep.
That's, when I stopped a couple times when I did a GNCC, and that's because I'm a vagina. And my hands hurt.
Yeah.
And I want to get back out and finish that one day.
Exactly.
I hadn't been riding enough, and honestly, just turned into a big wuss.
Now,
So
correct me if I'm wrong. The next one's Georgia, right?
yes,
Yep.
they're gonna. And he's gonna be heading up there actually tomorrow. So he's gonna be getting some
Everybody.
practice in.
I remember getting done with the race, loading up, your hands still bleeding, and then washing the bikes at a car wash, and then going to the next Georgia race, and I got like taped hands and everything like on the line. I got it, Dad.
Don't worry, I can hold on. I promise.
Yeah, is that the Chris? Y'all going to the same one? What is that called? What's that?
Yeah, the venue is the same as it's always been. We race in Washington.
Yeah,
that's right.
Maxis General.
Maxis, that's right. Yeah, the general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I know you got to run. So before we let you go, I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about maybe like the JCR team as a whole, because it's very cool the support that Johnny Campbell and his team have shown you, and you can tell the effort that they and yourself have been putting in. Obviously, the results speak for themselves, but I think a lot of people are kind of interested if there's any discussion about why maybe JCR has kind of walked away. Well, not walked away. They're not going desert racing anymore. They were doing some Endurocross and they were doing some GNCCs, and now they're not doing Endurocross anymore. But it seems that they're kind of focusing only on GNCC. Has there been any discussion of why that is? Is it just that we need to kind of focus here? Is that maybe a little bit of a push from Honda? Has there been any real discussion about that? I mean, obviously it worked in your favor. You did fantastic. The team's doing a great job with the effort. I just didn't know if there's a reason, maybe a reason why they're working that way.
Yeah. Obviously, it works out great for me because I have a job.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
in terms of the program, Johnny's won Baja 11 times, and that's a pretty staggering amount of wins compared to anybody else that's racing. And I think as he kind of just kept doing it, and he was successful, and I think he just needed to do something to stay hungry and kind of reinvent and something new and exciting. And with GNCC, the turnouts that we're getting and the media package behind it in our television and the web, and you guys doing shows like this, that stuff brings attention. And Honda was out of it for a long time, and they really wanted to make an effort and come back to GNCC, and Johnny's kind of the poster guy for Honda off-road. So I think a little bit of push from Honda partnered up with Johnny looking for some new exciting venues, and it all came together, and obviously it's working out really well, and Honda's behind it 100%. We are a true factory off-road effort, and it's great. I absolutely could not want to be on any better of a team. I have the best boss in the world. I have 2 mechanics. I have my guy, Dale Cook, and I have Johnny's guy, Eric, out west, and he comes to some of the races as well, but Johnny can't make it. But it's been great. The whole program is awesome, and last year, it was okay. It was a learning year for everybody, but now that I feel we're podium contenders, and I think we can make a real threat at this thing to be up there every weekend. It kind of makes last year look pretty terrible. But, it is what it is. We learned a lot. We made a lot of progress. And without last year, we wouldn't be in the position that we are now to be even up in that front battle. So
Absolutely.
Exactly.
you live and learn, and we're ready now, and we're here, and Johnny's happy. I'm happy. The team's great. Bike's great. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of 2015 and try to stay up in that top 3 and make being up on the podium kind of a normal deal.
Yep.
Right on. Well, I promise this is the last question. So how do you take that momentum as a rider, and as an employee to Johnny Campbell? Maybe he's told you something to help you out. Maybe you know something to help you out. What do you tell riders and racers like ourselves? Like, how do you carry that momentum? How do you keep that encouragement throughout the week so that when you go into the General this coming weekend in Georgia and you just go, all right, 3rd, now let's go get 2nd or let's go get 1st? Like, how do you keep that rolling?
I think that's just part of being a racer. I think you just it's just that inner drive, that you want to be the best, and just we've been kind of joking a little bit the last couple of weeks, and even from last year, kind of carrying over is Johnny's got a quote in Dusty Glory, I think it is, and he basically says anything other than winning is unacceptable. And
boom,
it's kind of a joke, but I mean, in reality, it also rings very true. And I'm the only guy on the team this year, like you said. There's no Baja guys, there's no Endurocross guys. This whole effort is behind me to go out and perform at GNCCs. And yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I kind of thrive off that pressure a little bit where, you're in that pocket and you're getting tired or whatever. Maybe the course isn't the best or you're struggling with something, you crash and you bent the bike up or whatever. But, at the end of the day, we need to perform. Honda needs us to perform, and it gives you a little bit of that extra push. It just says, hey, you're in 3rd place, but realistically, 3rd place isn't good enough. So you kind of just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and no matter what, you hear everybody across all racing, something can always be better. My bike right now is really close to perfect, but we can always strive to make something better, whether it's a little bit better chassis change or a little bit better engine package or whatever we need to do, or maybe the bike is good, but we can plug some holes that we have in terms of setup or preparation or whatever. And you're always just constantly working at it, and you just knock off milestones as they come, and eventually we're going to get JCR's first GNCC win and myself a first GNCC win, and I just hope it's coming sooner than later. I'm tired of waiting.
I hear that, dude. Well, other people are waiting as well. We know you've got dinner plans this evening, and you've stepped away for us. So 1, we really, really appreciate that. 2, fantastic job this past weekend. We're very much looking forward to what's going to come, this coming weekend at the General.
It's fast. It's got a motocross section on it, man, and everybody
styling.
And everybody knows that place back and forward. So just stay healthy. Don't do anything stupid in practice. And man, I truly believe you got this, and show Caleb what's up.
Dude, please do. I mean, I love Caleb. I would just, that would be so epic to watch from my couch in Texas, while you race in Georgia.
But like you said, man, he's got his head in the right spot. Chris does, and it's really cool to see a guy like that and working his butt off to step up and finally get the win he deserves. So good luck, Chris, and have fun there.
All right, man, guys, I thank you. It's been great having me on, and everyone listening, obviously, go ahead and check out JCR Honda website, sponsor, social media. Get out there, check it out, pump us up, and we're going to try to carry this momentum through the rest of the season, and maybe we'll get back on the show here in a couple weeks.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great, man. We've been trying to get you on for a long time, so I'm glad we were able to track you down. Have fun at that dinner, and when you get in there, if anybody has a beverage, you just tell them, I always enjoy a pint full of awesome. And you just tell them that the seat time guy said hi.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Have a good night. Have a good rest of the show, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, man.
Alrighty,
Peace.
man. See ya.
Awesome. I'm excited. So, Chris Bach for a very, very long time, KTM guy. KTM. Then he saw him on the beta team. Unfortunately, that seemed to fall apart.
It was a pretty quick
rode a Yamaha.
transition.
Yeah, and then did the Yamaha the next year.
Yep.
Then did KTM again with the KR4 guys. And then after that, went to the JCR team when they seemed to be coming over to the East Coast for GNCC. And so, and like he said, though, you could tell that they've been working. They've been trying to get that going. The program, it's a very big learning experience for those guys. So, I mean, but hey,
Exactly.
something clicked.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I mean,
obviously,
it's
'cause
not
these
saying
teams are tough.
Yeah, it's not saying the KTM is a bad bike, the Beta is a bad bike, or the Yamaha is a bad bike. It's just some guys. I mean, he switched around so many times that this guy switched around, and it's just like, man, he just seems something's off there. And then I guess the Honda has his little niche that he likes, and they've put in that work with him, and it's paying off, man. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a win from him soon on that.
I think that would be awesome if that would happen. So, one of the things we didn't really do before we were kind of got a chance to come in, I knew that Chris Bach needed to get to his dinners. We didn't get a chance to really say thank you very much. So obviously Fly Racing, they've got their new sector boot. Everybody needs to go check that out. You can either check it out on their website, flyracing.com, or you can go to your local dealer, which we would prefer. I mean, it's best to support your local dealership.
Yes.
You know, buying off of flyracing.com, it can happen, but it's definitely best to go into your local dealership and support those guys. Of course, Kinda Tire, huge supporters of a series like the National Enduro Series. Tony Joyner, actually in Oklahoma, he's a
Joyner.
Yeah, he's a big Kinda sponsored rider.
Right.
You see a lot of Kinda guys there in the Endurocross series. They're doing a lot when it comes to testing. They've got some great tires out there. If you're doing any of those series, you want to know about the tires, reach out to us. We can tell you more about what kind of selections they have, what might be a good choice for you guys. And of course, the fine folks over at Stillwell Performance, they get no sexier than Mr. Alan Stillwell. What is going on, my friend?
How's it going, guys?
Oh, dude, just coming in hot. So what do you do when your employees show up late?
Well, I'm pretty lucky. You know, I don't really have that many problems with all that. Maybe it's just because I let them know up front I'm a complete asshole.
It's like when I yell at you, I mean it.
I took the wrong exit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I get my Napoleon complex going.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, you're short too,
man
Alan?
syndrome.
You didn't look that short in person.
That's funny.
I like it.
That doesn't come out too much.
That's okay. Yeah, no, we have to give Dillon as much grief as we can, and it's obviously of his no fault of his own, but sometimes traffic in DFW, it sucks. There's no other way around it, and you just have to drive through it. So he got here a little late. So at any time, if you feel like giving him crap for it, feel free.
Yeah. Well, I flipped enough people off. I think they know where I'm at. So.
I gotta get to seat time, peoples.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Stuff's happening. People are live right now.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Alan Stillwell, you're back home, which looks boring. So you must have had so much fun that you came home early for bike week. So did you just like have too much? What was the deal?
It was a pretty calm bike week for me. I mean, it was cold and rainy most of the time down there. I know. I'm boring. If you went back 30 years, I could tell you some stories that we'd have to bleep out half of it. But no, this is a pretty calm one.
Nice.
It was, I flew in on a Wednesday. We had test sessions set up with Factory Beta as well as Jason Thomas from Dirt, the Dirtwise guys.
Yep.
So I ended up out in close to, I guess it was Orlando, and found some really, really rough. I'm glad we did, because holy smokes was the GNCC tough.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, we found some really gnarly stuff to test in, and we got both Buttrick's 300 set up and then Jason's 250SX. So it was real good, And at that, like I think I've told you guys before, at that level, we've worked with both of those guys in the off season, so the bikes were solid. It was more really about making sure that they felt like they were fully prepared. So, in his case, the bike was spot on as soon as he rode it. I knew we were solid, but we ran some clickers in and out. We played with a little sag, and we came right back to where we were. So that just kind of solidified for him that it's like, okay, I've got everything I need. I'm really ready to do this. Right
on. You had a really good point there with heading out and testing with those guys, getting everybody set up into a really good spot. Now that kind of all of the series that Beta is involved in are running, people now have actual data to test off of for the 2015 series, and you're back home, not the team manager, and only kind of the suspension guy / the person they ask questions to on the side. How is that? I mean, are you still okay with it?
Yeah, I am. It was a little bit interesting sitting up in the stands at Endurocross, because I'd been down there like chomping my teeth behind the gate for 3 years with Cody, but it was pretty interesting. with Beta, they've got enough resources now that we have extra and different setups for pretty much any terrain. So we've gone through all those. They have extra sets of fork shocks. We did 24 different bike setups for those. Well, not bike setups, but we did 24 different bikes for those guys this year for Endurocross, GNCC. Yeah, it was a strain because it all comes at once, right? Watts wants his stuff. We did 11 bikes for him, and then I've got Ty Tremaine. We did bikes for him, and they're going to Brazil to race, and they're going GNCC and National Enduro, and it was. I'm happy to be home, but to answer your question, everybody's solid, and they've got what they need, and I've worked really good with Zach. He's taken on the reins back east for Beta, and he's a good kid, Zach Huberty, good kid, really, really hard worker, and so I tried to teach him as much as I could, and the technology now too to do this remote is a lot better because, like at Endurocross, I sat in the stands with my iPad, and I slow-moed a lot of stuff through the matrix and the rock section, and then went back to the pits with all the different sponsored riders and went through that. And it was pretty funny too because Ty Tremaine's pitted next to Cody, right? Yeah. So I'm working with Ty, and I got the iPad on the seat, and we're looking at how this rebound's doing this, and Cody's like, "Did you get anything of me, man?" Better talk to your factory guys now. Alan doesn't cover you anymore.
Suck it. That's what you should have said.
I know.
It's
all good. Cody and I are still pretty tight. I kind of miss being down there with him, but obviously he's got real good support. His bike looked good. It's fast as heck. I mean, everybody's bike came into the season looking great. I think that the sand/black dirt really caught everybody, caught them, not ready for that because that stuff looked like it was going to turn into big, 4-foot berms, and it was just sliding everybody's bike out. Colton went down and practiced, and in his heat and stuff. Everybody was, saying in the pits how, gosh, they're not getting any grip on the front end. So it was interesting. The track looked, the Endurocross track looked really simple, but it really wasn't. There was no water pit there. There was a couple straightaways with just, one or two obstacles on them, but that sand really screwed everybody up. It made the uphill rock section very, very slippery, and it was one of the best nights of Endurocross racing I can remember because there were battles from, Cody went down in the lead, and then Kyle Redmond and Corey Graffunder was riding really good, and they're battling back and forth. Max was coming all the way from last, and he worked his way up to fourth. So, there's a lot of slamming and banging going on, and that's what we all love, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of wanted to know what you kind of thought about the whole Endurocross experience at Daytona from being in the stands kind of as a fan. It's unfortunate that we still don't really have too much of a live feed. People like yourself and a lot of the other media people that were there, obviously posted pictures, talking about things on Twitter, like that kind of stuff is happening. But unfortunately, it was very tough to keep up with stuff. So do you feel like the event went well, like that it seemed like people were prepared and things like that? I mean, you mentioned that maybe some of the settings were off, but I mean, overall, did you enjoy the event?
Yeah, I thought it was a good event. I think the turnout was really good for, a first time down there, and it was the very first event of Bike Week. So, I've been to a million Bike Weeks, and it tends to get rolling, right? So, being there Friday night, first event, I thought the turnout was really good. I think that Endurocross is still, it's not a novelty, it's just unknown to a lot of people. But when they see it, they're like, whoa, dude, this is the coolest night ever. Right. Because it's constant. It's like MMA action, right? Somebody's always getting beat up or knocked down. It's just with dirt bikes. So I think it was good. Obviously, Karsting and his crew and Eric and those guys, they run a great show. They know how to get the job done. And it's it was a little light on the amateur turnout from the west of the Mississippi because it's tough for a lot of kids to get the money to go out there. I remember I did the budget for Factory Beta, before I stepped away from it, and so I think that if I recall right, it was going to be $2,200 in fuel to get out there and back in the diesel.
Took me 2 days.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's 2 days for for me to go out there.
Oh, just the Daytona?
Yeah, just for Florida. It was a 2-day drive for me.
Oh my God! Yeah, we're in Texas. Yeah, so we're halfway there ish.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, sure. It's a lot of days on the road, and props to Destry and those guys who did the pull. I know he had a Sprinter with a trailer behind it, and he's actually worked out with a lot of good amateurs and stuff. So they'll pay him a little bit, and they'll take their bikes around. So I think it would be nice to see more of that. Maybe a little even subsidy from Endurocross to say, hey, look, we'll cover your entry fee, or we'll do something for you if you can make this round, being that far away. But I think it would be good to see it stay there. I think it has a place within Bike Week, And I did notice in the stands that there were a lot of people there for the very first time. So it's getting exposure to people, that may not have even known what it was earlier in the week.
Yeah.
The weather, I think, helped too, because it was so crappy out that people didn't want to ride their Harleys. It was, spitting rain and windy, and it's right down just off the beach, So I think a lot of people just went, hey, let's go check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so Cody Webb getting a win, which is awesome for him, getting the championship last year. Yeah, coming in hot, getting the win this year. How did he look? In not just a friendship way, but did it look like it clicked? It looked like everything was on par, and that all the testing that he did from the new bike, from the beta to the KTM, is going proper, if you will.
I think he had some issues. I talked to him a little bit after the race, and there's some things he wanted to work on. He's used to, like you said, he's used to being in Europe and running like 6-lap events at a 38 or 30-second lap time. So now he's running 15 laps.
Yep.
And I will say this though, one of the things that I always told Cody that he needed to work on was his intensity and his aggressiveness. And from the drop of the first practice, he was out there letting people know he's got that number one for a reason. He was on the gas, hard, charging, because his first real year with myself and Beta, he was trials riding through the obstacles, and then he'd ride from one obstacle to the other, and he needed to race, and he figured that out. I mean, he's a smart kid, and so I think in that regard he was super fast. To me, I told him after there, I think his setup was a little off, because he went over the bars and the matrix, his forks completely collapsed on there. So, it's not my place anymore to say whether he went to run or not, but he's a good buddy of mine and stuff. So I'm like, man, you may want to take a look at that a little bit. But as far as intensity goes, getting out there, and going after it, yeah, he's there. He's carrying his number one. He's dead serious about it. I didn't realize this till after the race, but I got off the elevator and was searching for my room key that night, and off the elevator pops Colton and Jeff Aaron, and Colton had a lacerated spleen and 3 broken ribs, so he didn't really make a big deal out of that. But I'll tell you what, he's a tough SOB, because he went out there and pulled off a second and rode hard, and I think that he just rode like content in second. And, Colton is lightning fast, but Colton is also known for maybe being a little overamped and, going over the bars or getting a little bit too whiskey throttle. So I thought, well, he's in it for the season, he's in it for the championship. And then when he said that in the hallway that night, we were talking for a few minutes. I'm like, holy smokes, man, that's major props to him.
Dude, yeah, that's super intense.
Dude, that's a racer right there.
The only thing I ever did was I rode through a broken collarbone just because I didn't realize it was broken. But compared to a lacerated spleen, that's nothing.
I mean, when you get money on the line, you won a championship, and this is your first round.
Yeah, you got to
way to start it off there.
You got to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I mean, you're owner of the team is just gonna be like, suck it up, dude. If you don't want it, then go out. So
yeah,
for sure. Standout ride of the night was for sure Kyle Redmond.
Oh, dude, it's big in my notes, bold. Proof of this.
It was
Kyle
crazy.
Redmond on the podium.
It was crazy.
I was like, fuck yeah, because, and my dad's been getting on me for cursing too much on the show, but that deserves it, because I have been talking about Kyle. We've tried to get him on the show a lot. We've had him on twice, and every time I'm just like, gosh, if this guy could just get some support, just some decent support, I really think that he could have a really breakout performance. And I think this is the beginning.
He's the quiet guy that just gets it done, and everybody kind of like, oh, good job for him, and overlooks it. But then finally, he just like bam, puts it down, and everybody's like, "All right,
Yep.
all right, he means business now."
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
game on.
excited for that guy. Yeah, tell us about how that went for you, because you got to test with him. You got to kind of help him set up all the bikes. You got to chat with him. So break it down for us how that was behind the scenes.
I've worked with Kyle all the way back to his Factory Husky days. And the thing about Kyle is he's extremely soft-spoken, and he, I don't know, he doesn't really say a lot. You know, he's funny as heck when you get him to open up, but he's just so calm almost that I told him, I always been making a joke with him. I said, look, man, I'm going to come up and kick you right in the frickin' nuts before your heat race and get you all pissed off.
Yeah.
Because there's been a couple times where, you know, he got mad about something, somebody knocked him down or ran him over or whatever, and he just blew through the pack. And the last time he was on the podium, it was like that. You know, I said, why'd you ride so good? He goes, I was mad. So I was getting him pumped up in the off season. I'm like, man, if I got to come around, you know, and mess you up a little bit before you get on the bike, but you got to get it done. Because if you think about it, and he knows this, he's been at this as the prodigy since he was 18. And I think he's 26 or 27 now. So I'm like, dude, this is it for you. You have to make a stand now. You have to be a podium guy. You're coming into a ride that won the championship. It's the same bike, right? It's the same tune, and there's really no excuses. And so I know in the off season he didn't make a big deal out of it, but he put the hammer down. He's working hard, but he's Kyle can sometimes be affected by outside things happening around him that may, I don't know, little things. I can't even think of an example, nothing big, but it'll take him and move him off of his game. So he needs to be in that box, right? So, you know, going to the line, I was watching him, and he's calm like always, and his dad's a real cool guy. I know Tim real well, and, you know, Tim goes to the line with him and stuff, and now he's got a new mechanic, Kevin, who's working with Beta. So, you know, he's got his dad there. He's also got a whole new team, right? And he was hoping that when he signed that, you know, at that point I was still going to be the manager. So I've worked with him for so long. He was hoping that, you know, I'd work with him and be his mechanic and team manager and stuff. So that threw him off a little bit. So I was curious to see how he would do. But I tell you, man, he rode aggressive. You know, the thing I saw in Kyle is he raced his ass off. And him and Corey Graffunder got into a slam battle for, you know, that third, fourth position in there, and back and forth, right? And him and Corey go back as buddies. They, you know, drove to the races together. They were teammates for a long time. They always, share hotel rooms, do all this kind of stuff, so they know each other real well. And he was taking no prisoners because he hit Graffunder hard in the rocks, and that moved him into third. So it was really good to see. You know, the bike, we've got the bike right where he wanted it. I actually wanted to stiffen the forks, which we did after watching him in practice, and he came back after his heat race and said, nah, it's too much. So, you know, Kyle is one of the best test riders I've ever worked with. He's so sensitive to so many little minute changes that if we could ever get together, I really wanted to put him in the off season, put him on, you know, all of our 4CS project testing, because he's just so good at it and stuff. So it was pretty easy with him. You know, I went out to California with him and Max, and we had 4 different settings in the forks and a couple different settings in the shocks. And, you know, with Max, I thought I had Max dialed because he's 350, right? He's ridden it forever. So now Max goes, hey, I want to ride 300. I was really stoked for him about it, but at the same time now, we've never tested with Max on the 300. So it's same thing. Beta sent a bunch of forks out, a bunch of shocks. We did a lot of different setups, and you know, you can't have those guys jump off their bike and get on the other guy's bike to see how the forks feel. Because when you're a pro rider, you're super picky about where your levers are, what kind of bars you run. Max runs flex bars. Kyle doesn't run flex bars. So, you know, I knew going into that test session with those guys, it was going to be a little hard because we just had the 2 practice bikes and the 2 race bikes. And the race bikes were rolled out of the van and nothing was broken in. Yep. And with these red Marzocchi forks that I always talk about being so good, one of the reasons they're so good is because they come from the factory and all the tolerances are tight. So you have to run them in about 8 to 10 hours to get everything to seat and become, you know, perfectly smooth. So we didn't have a lot of time on a couple of the setups, but like before, when I said, you know, Kyle's a good test rider, so it was no big deal. They could feel what they wanted out of the forks, and I really, gosh, I had both of them and Morgan Tankey and Ty Cullens all tuned within 4 hours. It was one of the easiest test days we've ever had.
Man, I wish I could come out there and test with you for my new 350.
Well,
That would be
we
so
should be
awesome.
doing that for you.
Oh yeah, that's what you need.
It's not that.
That's what.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, that's what this guy
gonna
needs
put
to
me
be.
on the podium there.
No, that would just be fun. Because then I could
kidding.
go test and ride and then
yeah.
drink beer without.
Oh yeah, totally.
So that's the idea.
Yeah.
You're 20.
But
You can't do
he's
that.
right on that though. You can't like the pros. It's just to get them fitted in 4 hours. That's an all day process
Right.
because everything's just like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. And
Yeah.
like the only possible thing you would have to do is like drop the forks and then like put them on the other guy's bike. But that's time consuming and stuff. So to get them in 4 hours and then for their performance of that night, everything like that's just a great line of the planets and just everything worked out. And
Yeah.
but now for them is everything's working out. They just gotta stay healthy. They gotta because Endurocross, man, right when you get calm and look the other way, bam, on the ground. You're in the
Where'd my front
matrix.
tire?
Yeah, the
Stuck in
matrix is gonna
something.
break your face. That's what it's gonna do. So
It'll do it for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's on them now. So that's even harder. Just like the bike is not the problem anymore. Alan's done his job, and just maybe like you said, a minor tweaks here and there, based on the track. But now it's the racer's job and keep his mindset good and keep his composure throughout.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to watch and see how this evolves. When's the next round of Endurocross? Do you know offhand?
Yeah, it's weekend after this coming one in Salt Lake
2
City.
weeks. Yep.
Okay. Oh my gosh, they're going all the way back west.
Yeah, it's fall.
So what do you know? Kind of, does Cody going back overseas this weekend? Is there a super enduro, or does he have a little bit of a break until?
I just talked to him like 20 minutes ago before I went on, and he leaves. I believe it's tomorrow. He leaves for France for the last round of Super Enduro.
Gosh, man.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough.
So
dude.
busy.
Oh man, Ty Tremaine. I picked up Ty Tremaine to sponsor this year, so he's riding a bike over there that stays over there. So ironically, we did suspension for him for that 300 because he's locked in this battle with this kid from Sweden.
Right.
Real good rider, right? So they're going back and forth, and so Ty's only got 1 or 2 points in the championship that he's ahead going into this last round. So. He said, Alan, can you do 300 suspension for me? I really, really like the 350. It's amazing the difference, and I want the same thing on the 300. So I'm like, sure, no problem. So we got it ready for 2 rounds ago, and UPS had a weather delivery, remember, from the big blizzard?
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't just delay shipments east, it delays everything because planes are diverted and stacked up. So he didn't get his 300 set up in time, so he ran stock 2 races ago in Mexico, and then he went to Brazil, and they didn't let his stuff through customs. Yeah, so he was on stock again. So I'm hoping that when he goes over and to France, he's going to spank this kid pretty good. And as far as Cody goes, man, I mean, he wants to beat Taddy again. The time before he let the door open, he would have beat Taddy that one.
Oh, I know that video was so tough to watch that happen. Oh my gosh!
You could see it too, and Cody, you could just see
he just went, oh.
he knew exactly what he did, and just as a pro,
Yeah.
he was like, I shouldn't have done it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I think you'll see Cody in there battling it out, and I'm curious to see what Kyle will do because he's been steadily moving up from eighth, ninth, then it was 7th, then it was 6th, then it's 5th. So I'm curious to see. It's going to be really interesting over there, and I don't know anything about what the track looks like. But yeah, so they go from France, and then they have to turn right around, fly home, and in Cody's case, he goes to class. It's
Yep, he does.
I don't know how many people realize, but he's carrying I forget how many engineering credits, and I saw some of the stuff that he's working on, and holy smokes! I mean, it made my head explode just looking at it. So. He's got a lot going on for sure. All these kids do. Just the travel alone. I mean, holy smokes! You know what it takes out of your body when you travel internationally.
Yeah, Cody took a picture of it, and I saw it on social media, and I was like, "What are you learning over there?" Dude?
Oh,
Are you
like
gonna
some of his
yeah.
some of
He
his
took a
engineering
picture
work?
of his work, and he's like, "Can't wait to practice after this class. I was like, what are you?
Yeah, I
like,
can't wait to ride my dirt bike
holy
after
crap.
studying this
Yeah.
crap.
So he's right. So again, you got to keep your mind straight. He's got to get out of class. He's got to, when he gets there, Cody's on a first place roll. Kyle Redmond on the podium. Momentum's a dangerous thing, man, to competitors, because these guys, they got that. They get on the line. They're like, there shouldn't be anything less. I should only get more. Like Chris Bach said, he's like, if I got third, why should I get anything less than that now? So you got both of those guys coming in and just expecting the same for Cody or better for Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you watch Max, he got hooked on another bike in the first turn, and he came all the way back to fourth.
Yep.
And he great with Redmond. He got penalized because he slipped off in the rocks, and he went literally off the side, and his bike was almost straight up and down, and you have to re-enter right where you went off the track. So he didn't have any options, so he had to just wheelie off of it and go around the obstacle, and he didn't move it ahead of position, but he got docked because he physically finished fourth, but they gave Griffunder fourth, and he got fifth. So I know he's real hungry, and he had a really good ride. It was a little bit overshadowed by what was going on up front, but I see him, riding very well. I think that when Colton heals up, it'll be a battle up front. It's going to be a battle. I don't think that Colton's going to lay down on this. He's just frustrated because he's hurt. So for that dude to gut it out, I broke 5 ribs when I did my back, and even now, 15 months later, they still hurt once in a while. So, you think we've all broken ribs, man. There's nothing you can do for them except tape them up.
Nope.
Except deal with it. Well, man, I know we could continue to talk about, all the stuff that's going on. One of the things we haven't even had a chance to touch on that we just don't have time for is like Colton Haker. I want to talk, that's got to be such an interesting thing for him. We've got so many different guys on new bikes. We've got Griffunder back on KTMs after kind of like a stint on different things. So I think, Alan, we're going to have to keep this conversation going probably after St. Louis. Not St. Louis. After the Salt Lake City. So that way we can kind of talk a little bit about the Endurocross action that goes on there, and then, of course, continue this kind of Endurocross discussion, because it's big, it's broad, and it can be expansive.
Yep.
But before we go, so what's new at Stillwell Performance? Like, what's the hot new thing? What are the kids buying these days?
It's 4CS, and we're just buried in them. And it was good to see. Jason Thomas was really one of the kids that I worked hard with on like the expert and pro level 4CS setup. So it was really, really fun to watch him at GNCC, because he was on point for sure. He had flu. You hear all these backstories after the fact. Well, he had the shits and was throwing up for 2-3 days before the event.
Sweet.
He sat with us. Yeah, I got him and Shane some tickets for Endurocross, so we all hung out together, and he was sipping on his Pedialyte, and he just didn't look good. But I tell you, he ran right up with Nick Davis that first hour and a half, and then he came by and was like, I'm running out of steam. So that was good to see the bike operate and handle so well. We're busy. I hired another guy, and we're just cranking it out, and so it's interesting. We had 3 different calls from New Hampshire today. Of all, who knew, right?
Right.
And like, oh yeah, the sun's out, and we think the snow's gonna melt off enough to go riding next weekend. Can you get some stuff turned around? So it's interesting talking to people from, like, we have a customer in Sweden that keeps his bike in our shop here, and and he's a rich guy. He comes over and he rides Colorado in the summer, and he rides out here in the winter. So he'll call up and he'll go, hey, port the motor and do the cylinder, and then he'll call up a few weeks later and go, those Mylar radiators like Cody had, because he's on a beta, he goes, those are pretty cool. Can you put those on? So anyway, he calls from Sweden today, and he's like, yeah, me and my buddies decided to ride Erzberg, and I just bought a new 15-300. I'm going to send this stuff over. Can you get us hooked up for Erzberg?
Why is it's always the rich guys, man? And like you said, it's
he didn't ask me to ride with him at all.
It's only the things that like look cool. Like, oh, I saw that. If he's running it, it must make me win. So let's just put it on. You even know what it does, dude? Nah, probably not. So
that's okay.
But
he's
those
gonna
are
totally finish.
Those are the
Erzberg.
best customers. We're like, oh, dude, you want it? We're putting it on.
Yeah.
All right.
Stillwell's like, I'm giving you 2 of them.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, it's all good. So Pierce, when you need to go out and ride that thing stock, and then we'll talk.
That's happening. Unfortunately, it's going to be a race, and it's going to be 2 days of racing, and then it's going to be another 2 days of racing, or another day of racing at the National Enduro here in Texas in 2 weeks.
Oh.
But hey, you know what? Shit happens. And the thing is I've been saving for a long time, and I don't have enough money to buy it. And my dad just said, you know what? Now's the time to sell the 300. I'll front the rest of the money. So he bought the 350, and that way I could start riding the 350 now, sell the 300 when the weather's is about as good as it's going to get coming up here. So, you know, obviously big props to Papa Pierce for being as supportive as he is for all this kinds of stuff. So
it's not gonna. It's that enduro. It won't kill you, but
it's gonna come close.
Yeah,
it's gonna come close.
It won't totally demoralize you.
Well, hit me up offline. We'll get you some stock, clicker settings that'll at least let you survive through that thing. And you're definitely going to have some calluses by the time that's over.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to. Well, my dad's been telling me to clean up the show, but everybody who knows me knows what I'm thinking about when it comes to calluses. We'll just see where it goes from there.
Just can't get through a segment with him
No, you can't. You can't, Alan. Yeah.
It's always been that way.
And it doesn't end. It doesn't end when you get off either.
Yeah, when you get off. Wait, who gets off?
Even when the camera turns off, it's game on. So.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because everybody thinks that like I'm on the show and I'm an 11. This is really like a 6.
That's a 6, yeah.
And then it's like, then we get real life, so it gets interesting. Well, cool, Alan. Thank you very much for coming on the show as always.
Yeah.
You have always obviously been not just a big supporter of myself, but of the show Seat Time. And so we really appreciate you coming on. Tell us about all the stuff that's been going on at Daytona, sharing some advice as always. Hopefully in 2 weeks we can catch back up with not just yourself, but talk about more of the Endurocross stuff that's been going on. And really, I think there'll be some good discussions about some of the stuff that's been going on with a lot of the team changes and things like that in Endurocross, and it'll be interesting to kind of break that down a little, especially from such a smart suspension
and give
person.
Like an amateur shout out for his team. Drew Higgins busting out another second.
Hell yeah.
At Enduro, so he's sticking in there, man, repping it for Texas for us down here.
Yeah. He's faster than me, which is awesome.
Yeah, he's a great kid, and it sounds like a great family. I mean, we had to turn some stuff around for him for CS and get it out there quickly. So he actually got a chance to ride Jason Thomas's bike and liked it. So that was kind of a no-brainer. And he called after that race. He's like, man, we're on point with this thing. He's really pumped. So
I get to race him this weekend. So
nice. TCCRA.
Yep. I'm pretty sure he's coming.
Is your dad coming to the 2-day enduro? We talked about
national?
it. Yeah. No, the 2-day this weekend.
No. We're going to TCRA, bro.
Whatever. All right, Alan, we love you. Thank you very much for all the support.
Always good. Keep it pinned, huh?
Yeah, keep her pinned, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, man.
Oh, that sucks. So we're going to get Maria Forsberg here on the show. But really, your dad totally said he was going to come to the 2-day enduro at the Zinc Ranch in Oklahoma because he said it sounded awesome. Am I calling your father out right now on the show?
Probably. I didn't know about this. I'm over here saying, like, are we going to TCRA? And then he's like, yeah. So I'm out of the loop. Don't tell. I'm the kid. I'm out of the loop.
What's happening here?
Well, if whatever's better, I'll do the 2-day enduro. I don't care.
It's gonna be awesome. It's funny because a couple people were talking to me like, man, I thought it was that. What did they say to me? I want to say they said something about it being dangerous, and I was like, oh, I might be calling people out here, but it was Drew Higgins. He's like, I heard that place is kind of sketchy or kind of.
I'm sorry,
something.
Drew.
And I'm like,
you are the one to say that.
And I'm like, you're an enduro racer. You go where the arrows
point. And the funny thing is, he's like, oh, it's gonna be dangerous, and he wins, and it's like. Oh, I said it was dangerous, but it wasn't that bad.
You just like we're enduro racers. The arrow points that way, and you just go. Like,
don't look left or right. Just straight ahead.
It's like danger.
There is no danger.
You don't worry about danger until you're on the ground crying about it.
Listen, we're way past the point of danger.
That could have hurt. That could have hurt.
Right when you throw a leg over, you're past the point.
Right. Well, I don't even remember. What is it for married ladies? Maria Forsberg.
Mrs.
Welcome to the show. Is it Mrs.? You can correct us for this.
I don't know.
What do you prefer?
Mrs. is good.
Mrs. is good. All right, so Mrs. Maria Forsberg on the that sounds official to me. Baby's mama's mama. What is that from the Outcast song? So congratulations on all the awesome stuff that has been going on in your life. How fantastic is it to be a mother?
It's pretty awesome. The best thing I've experienced.
Yes. It's so weird. And I come from 2 infants now that I've gone through. And, of course, my stepdaughter who came into my life about the age of just before 4. So 3 children now in my life, all that kinds of stuff. And I thought it was cool just having a stepdaughter that I got to do all this stuff with. But that weird literally a blob, no offense, coming out of your wife's vagina body thing, like, and then it turns into like, it talks, it moves, and then it poops and pees and all this other stuff that starts happening. It is like the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
that's great to look forward to.
Yeah. Go team. So I mean, but besides talking about women's vaginas, being a mother is awesome, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I just sometimes the show's just got to go places, and the lucky thing is Mrs. Maria Forsberg is totally okay with this because she's an awesome lady. So
she's been around guys too long anyway, so she's good. She's been in the racing industry.
Dude,
it's probably
do you
a lot worse.
see the pictures on Instagram of her husband and the bikinis that he wears? She is so secure, and that's okay. Like, she's going to talk about all this and feel totally okay with it because that man is he's sexy. I'm just going to say
That's
a pink Speedo? Who does that besides your husband?
Not very many. He's got a leopard print too.
Oh my gosh, we're in. I'm visiting. I'm gonna borrow one. Make sure it's washed, please. First, we're gonna see how this goes down. I know
you
it could
don't
get
own
awkward.
one? I would be the first. I would guess you first out of anybody to own one.
Own one?
Yeah. Okay.
No. Okay. So Miss Maria Forsberg, I'm just having too much fun here. I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
So obviously, it has been an exciting time for you. You retired from off-road racing. You got a chance. And for whatever reason, you did a fantastic job beforehand. You were a great, awesome racer. You retired. All of a sudden, you're having a family. I think that's a great reason to retire. But what we find out is that you're going to come back and race some X Games. At least that's what the press release said. So I'm here to officially find out. Is that actually happening?
Yeah, it's officially happened. I've already signed up and everything, and I'm pretty stoked about it, actually.
I think you should be. It's going to be. It's just. It was awesome having you out there. You were just such a cool, kick-ass presence. And not that we don't have cool, kick-ass ladies there. I think that it's just the fact that we get to add back another cool, kick-ass lady to the ladies that are out there racing at Endurocross there at X Games. It's just going to be so much fun.
Why not race the biggest one and the most amped up one and usually
TV coverage?
I know, right? I mean, she's just doing it to be on TV. All right, we all know that.
Dude, she's on seat time. You don't get much better than seat time.
I would do it to be on TV if I could, okay? So she's got the right mindset, and to go out and hopefully win it, it's just a bonus in the pot. So.
Yes. So
to show her kid, hey, just so you know who your mom is.
Yeah, mom's a kick-ass bitch. So how does a lady like yourself, who has such an awesome past resume, how do you take all the good times that you've had as a mother and kind of, I don't know because I don't think you turn those off, but how do you kind of go, okay, cool, I've got to find that competitive spirit again. You may have never lost it, and we may be overthinking it, but like, what's your mindset on how you kind of, bring that back? How do you train for it? How do you find the aggression again? And how do you really kind of, I guess, go out and really give it your best and not be like, I did not prepare enough?
Well, I guess I want to figure that out. And I guess the whole world gets to watch me figure it out kind of on TV. But yeah, I've been training actually this whole time. I'm big into CrossFit, as you know. And I actually was doing handstand push-ups the morning that my water broke. And so I've been...
Did your water break the wrong way? Like it's like in Australia when it turns the other direction?
Don't extend on that,
Did somebody say because you were upside, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm just kidding.
No, it was a few hours later.
Okay.
So we're good. But yeah, so I've been working out the whole time, and I just did a CrossFit competition not too long ago, and I still feel pretty good, but as we all know, it's different being in shape and then being in riding shape. And so I've gone riding a few times with my husband, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna take it easy. And the first time I went riding, I came back and he's like, you had the biggest shit-eating grin on your face, because I was gonna go out and do a few laps on the moto track, and I ended up pounding out a 20-minute moto. I just couldn't stop, and he's like, you still get that look in your eye when you get your helmet on. So we'll see. Like, I try and say I take it easy, but the few times I've gone riding, it hasn't really worked very well for me for taking it easy.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's good for all the other ladies out there.
I have a couple questions. One, are you talking about 15.1 that you did?
Which one was that? Is that
the open WOD?
The first
15.1?
open 15.1 or 15?
No, I didn't do the first one. I'm not signed up for the opens. I just did a in gym competition.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah.
You need to be signed up for that. You need to attack those girls seriously for what I see you do. Because we're both in CrossFit and stuff. I do CrossFit a lot too. I didn't sign up for
cool.
Open because men's are it's a little insane.
Well, there's a scale division now for ladies like us.
Don't put me in that class, please.
I mean, I'm
please.
just saying, like, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Thank you for putting the
Do
motor
I look like
confidence
I'm Rich
down.
Froning?
So
That guy needs a man bra.
So, anyways, yeah, and again, you can't just take it easy on getting back into it. But watching Casey Martinez and stuff like that, have you all been practicing together, or are you kind of doing everything on your own right now, getting ready for it?
No, I'm up in Washington, so I'm kind of far away from all those girls. But me and Casey are friends. I mean, we go way back, and she's on the factory team now, and I mean, I'm honored to race with them all again. You know, they're all my friends. I love all of them, Shani and Rachel and Tara, and so I'm pretty excited to see them and start banging elbows with them again, hopefully.
I love it.
And this won't reignite a racing career again, will it? Will you not, like, if you win it, you're like, all right, I kind of miss this now.
I think that's when you just drop the mic and walk away.
I was about to
for
say,
her.
how do you, like-
She's done it all. She's just like, what up? Boom! Like,
Exactly.
just slap Jamie Little's mic out of her hand and walk away.
Like, I mean, her saying she had a tough time in practice. Imagine winning X Games. I mean, are you just going to go back into the dark again and just that's it?
I don't know. I haven't really thought that far, and I haven't really been thinking of winning X Games per se, but we'll see how it goes. And I've got some more plans on training and stuff like that in the future. And so I got a few months to get back on the bike, and I feel like I'm in really good shape. I just need to get back into riding shape and get my my timing a little more. My timing's a little bit off on corners and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do in a few months.
What about local races? I mean, obviously Endurocross we know is its own beast, but there is that competitive nature that you can kind of grow in and stuff like that when it comes to local races. Do you think that, you know, obviously as we get closer that might be something that you'd kind of fiddle with?
Yeah. I mean, we've actually talked about that, and I wanted to do some moto races because I've been watching a lot of the Endurocrosses lately, and they look more moto-y than I remember. So that'll be interesting because that's never been my strong suit for sure. But yeah, I've actually planned on doing some local motocross races just around here, and because I think you're right. I mean, getting the competition back in me and the starting line and all that stuff, getting your nerves and remembering how to control them, and yeah, so that's my plan.
Right on. What about support? Now, in this kind of situation, like we know at Endurocross, there's always kind of a KTM truck and people that are there being supported. X Games is big as well, but it's a little bit different in the way that the way the teams work, the way the support works, and the way where everybody can kind of be. Are you going to kind of do this effort a little bit more on your own, or is somebody like Auntie from KTM going to kind of step in and help you out with a bike and some support and stuff like that at the event? Is there anything like that set up?
Yeah, I mean, KTM has been great to me, as everyone knows. I mean, through all my years of racing, they've been there, and yeah, they did say they were going to help me out this year, and we haven't gotten it down to the fine details or anything, but I'm super thankful for them. I couldn't be more happy to ride on a team and, you know, to be riding what I think is the best bike out there, and so I'm excited for that. But I mean, I just signed up a couple days ago, so we're figuring out the little details for sure.
Lot of logistics.
Oh, it is.
I can imagine that come along with that. So since you're going to be in Texas, you know, I live in Texas. Last year we were down at X Games. I'll be down there again. Is there any possibility that you could just give me your bike afterwards?
Probably not.
Okay. You got to ask, right? I mean, if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Last year, so we were down there, and I'm sure, you know, before a baby, all that kinds of stuff, that you had gone out a few times with some of the other Endurocross racers. Well, we went out last time at one of the motocross or motorcycle after parties, and I woke up missing a sleeve. I had footprints on my back. I definitely was not seeing out of both my eyes very well. And it got interesting.
It was like hangover X Games.
It was, yeah, X Games sized hangover. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen again.
I'm pretty sure she's a little bit more grown up now since she's a mom. So
Yeah,
You would
definitely
think.
the missing the sleeve. That's like a pretty common thing after an X Games party. I can tell you that. Right
Yeah. So I was just like, and apparently, and I, I'm like, guys, what the heck happened? So apparently, Jolene Von Hoyt has got me up on the bar, and I'm doing, the beer shotgun, beer funnels, whatever, with her, and then Big Mike, Taylor Roberts' friend, the big buff dude, Mike D's nuts. He grabs me off the bar from my shirt sleeve to try to pull it off, and apparently I fall off the bar onto the floor. And when all this happens, he's holding me on the ground with his foot, so that's how I get the footprint. So I get up. Wally Palmer then tries to take my other sleeve off, but it's, for whatever reason, much stronger than the left sleeve, and pulls me back down onto the ground because he's trying to pull the sleeve off so much. So that's why I woke up looking like I got drug across the floor of a bar.
Yeah, so glad I didn't go. Yeah, I sound like I missed a lot.
It was the best. So I mean, aren't you looking forward to X Games, Maria?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I'll be hitting any after parties. That'll be, but you never know.
He's like, did I ride?
Yeah, I didn't even ride. That's fine.
Yeah, I remember the sleeve thing after the Germany X Games for sure. Everyone was missing sleeves, and I don't know who started it. I kind of thought Geiger started it, but I could be wrong. But
Geiger was there, and there's a good chance that she was being very mischievous that evening and got it started as well. And somehow I wound up in the mix of all of it.
Whispering in everybody's ear, take a sleeve, take a sleeve.
You got muscles, pull on that boy. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It hurts for everybody.
That's about right.
Are you going to be able to bring the family down there?
Yeah. Actually, my husband and my daughter will be down there, and I think my mom's going to go too. So to help with the little one, and so yeah, I'm really excited for that.
That'll be wicked. My wife is going to be down there with all of our little kids. So if
is she really?
If Mr. Hahn wants to play Mr. Mom and with my wife Tamara and all the children, they could push their strollers together.
Have a cute little picture and have her walking in her gear right next to him.
Yeah, and I'll be slicking my camera.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm at work with my camera.
If you don't mind, he probably already knows. But how old's the little one?
Oh yes.
She's just almost 5 months.
5 months. Wow.
You were 5 months once. So was I.
Once, yeah.
Back in Z-Day.
I was on a bike at 5 months. I'm just kidding.
No, you weren't.
No.
Oh, at 5 months. No, yeah, there's not really much that goes on at 5 months besides all the cute faces. Those are fun. We just got Nora. So Nora just turned a year old. We just got her. I think it's Early Rider is the company. It's like this weird looking little bubble thing. But what they did is they put these really big balls under there that are essentially like wheels, and then it's got two little like smaller wheels on the sides to keep the lateral sides there. But it's definitely look into that, because when she hits about 8 to 10 months, that's kind of like a good way to help take her balance to the next level really quick, because it's not it's not like a kick bike or a balance bike in the sense that she has to stand and hold herself. Like, it balances itself on its own, but she kind of has to kick and push herself. So with Liam, I got him a kick bike right away, 1 year old, but it took him like 3 or 4 months to really like get it and be able to walk around on it. But Nora, the first day this week that she got that little bubble bike, I don't even remember. I'll send you the name, but that little bubble bike, that thing is awesome. So that'll be a really good way to get her up and kind of getting her balance going, because obviously I'm pretty sure she'll wind up on a bike.
Well,
at
the
some
question
point.
is like, are you gonna is the little one gonna be introduced to this? Is she gonna follow into mom's footsteps, or is it kind of just like whatever she picks goes?
We've talked about that a lot, and I mean, she's definitely gonna be introduced to it because we go camping a lot, and she'll be going camping with us for sure. But I kind of want to introduce her to everything, and T-ball and ballet and racing, and then I'm kind of the plan is just to let her pick and see what she wants to do.
See, yeah, Dad did that with me. Soccer, baseball, everything. I was like, screw those things, Dad. This thing's got an engine in it. Why would I do? Why would I run? Why do I have to use my feet? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Engines are so much cooler.
Yeah.
Here's obviously off topic for seat time, but I think it's still interesting because of the fact that you're such a talented athlete with the CrossFit and pregnancy. I remember you doing some really interesting posts about talking about that, and I was very supportive of that, by no means negative towards that. And I've seen a lot of people be negative about, pregnant women in CrossFit and working out and all that kinds of stuff.
I got a pregnant woman in my class already. Who cares?
You pregnant? You got a woman pregnant in your class?
No, she's pregnant in the class.
You're not supposed to do that in class.
No, and it's called CrossFit babies, man. It's fine. It doesn't hurt them at all. It's good for the mom to work out.
It's so nonchalantly, like, I just got a woman pregnant.
Yeah, I did that.
That's
I rolled
weird.
Up.
So, I mean, but how was that for you? Was there much, a backlash from kind of the non-CrossFit community?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was. And I ended up stopped posting things because I didn't want controversy. But, yeah, I talked with my doctor a lot, and I was seeing a doctor who had dealt with professional athletes, so she knew everything about what goes into being an athlete and everything like that. And she was all for it. Her biggest thing was do what you feel comfortable with. Any time you start getting lightheaded or you know your body the best. And I think as athletes, we know our body more than the average person. And I was really careful, and I scaled a lot of things, but I felt comfortable. My biggest thing was I felt comfortable up until the day I gave birth. And so, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong. And then I've read a bunch of studies, and actually a lot of things say if you continue to work out while pregnant, your baby sleeps better through the night and all this stuff. And yeah, my daughter slept through the night from day one, so it's been really easy. And
Yep.
yeah, well, I've been pretty lucky.
Well,
so,
the baby kind of gets in tune with how the mom's cycles are going.
The baby's like, her body's tired, I'm worn out, let's go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a good workout today, so let's go. Yeah.
I had a lot of
yeah,
nutrients.
and I think the biggest thing is people just don't know. They can read about CrossFit all they want. They say, things are pushed and you're not supposed to do deadlifts super fast, and they're all against the whole CrossFit thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you go to the right gym and you have the right coaches, that's not what CrossFit is. And it's just like circuit training, which a bunch of athletes do. It's just not called CrossFit.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm a big believer in CrossFit. I totally respect people who aren't, but it's worked great for me, and I have a super healthy baby, and I felt like I came back really fast. And so it might not work for some people, but it worked great for me and my family. So I'm planning on doing it again.
Right on. Yeah, one of the biggest things I think that I kind of, because I remember seeing, not before you actually, I remember seeing some posts about women in CrossFit pregnant, and obviously the controversy that does kind of come along with that from people that aren't in CrossFit, and kind of like, man, this is really interesting. The biggest thing I took away from, reading stuff that wasn't just hard left or hard right was that if you're doing something before you get pregnant and you kind of keep that up, that's when it's not really a problem. It's when you either are doing, it's when you're not really doing something, and then you try to force your body into something it's not used to while you're pregnant. That's when it gets worse.
Even stop.
Or even stop.
Yeah,
would probably
if
be
she
even
stopped,
worse.
then it just probably would have been a little slower and everything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, I've been working out from day one. I love it, whether it's to get in shape for racing or anything. I mean, it's kind of an addiction to me, and I was working out at least once a day, sometimes 2 a days, and I think that would be massively unhealthy for my body if all of a sudden one day I stopped. I think my body would go into shock, and just exactly like you guys are saying. I mean, I've done CrossFit for 4 years now, and yeah, that's the biggest thing. And I mean, as of what I know now, having my daughter, that's the biggest workout of my life. That day, as you probably know, being there with your wife and stuff. And it's like, I think it would be massively unhealthy to just go for walks, like everyone says, and sit on the couch. And that's definitely not my style. I wanted to have the healthiest delivery and what was best for my child. And so I came prepared, just like how I used to for races.
Right on. Yeah, that's awesome. No, and congrats to being able to stick with that. I know it's got to be tough, and it's smart to probably not post stuff and everything, just because of the negativity, unfortunately, more so than it is to not post about it.
It's kind of been that little CrossFit wasn't that huge, I don't know, 5 years ago, and so now it is. And
Pre-Bach.
Yeah, exactly. And so everybody's kind of like, whoa, you can't. Nobody's really been introduced that much to those, like you said, fast circuits and hard workouts. So it's funny. No, funny topic. I was coming into the GNCC when I first started. It was Georgia or something like that, or Florida, on the Honda. I was running the 250 B class, and I think I won it or got second or something like that. And Dad's like, don't be too stoked, all right? Because Maria was 5 seconds off your time. And I was like, I looked at him. Like, you can laugh all you want, but I looked at him with, like, such anger that he, like, ruined everything. Like, I was like, you got to be shitting me right now. And he's like, nope. He's like, I already looked at the times, okay? And I was like, oh,
back to the drawing board.
Dear God. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, my dad's also.
Don't you apologize?
My dad's also from Washington. Did Speedway and stuff. You actually met him at Florida and stuff. But yeah. So up in Washington, she gets all that rainy crap, and she was always like, Maria, you would always post, oh, I'm so glad for the rain and stuff. I'm like, who is this psycho? Like,
I know,
dude,
I know. That's what, whenever I get there and it was raining, all the girls are just like, oh, I hate the rain, and I was like pumped. I was like, yes, finally rain.
And Dad's like, you don't understand. You're not a Washington native. I was like, I don't care. Like, there is no rain in Texas. There is no. It's like you race in a dust bowl, and it's awesome. And GNCC people hate dust. They hate it, apparently. And I was like, I love it. Let's do it. And every time it rained, I was like, why aren't we canceling? Why are we still lining up to go race for 3 hours?
I hate dust.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get it.
And every time she'd post something, you're just like, how do you race against that? How do you race against somebody that's so pumped for like the horrible
got you beat from the beginning?
Exactly.
Well, before we take up all your evening, I did want to ask a little bit about kind of your thoughts on the GNCC this past weekend. So obviously 2015 kind of starting things off. Caleb Russell, just manimal. We got Casey Martinez doing so well, obviously, yeah. And XC2, obviously things went really good there with Nick Davis. Oh, he was on the Husky. But that's okay. Yeah, close enough for now. We'll see how much it evolves in the future. But I mean, what were your thoughts on kind of how the weekend panned out?
I thought it was awesome. I didn't get to watch any of the videos or anything, but I saw that Casey won and Caleb and I mean I was really good friends with Caleb's wife Chandler, and so I love just seeing the KTM team do good, and also always watching Casey race is fun, and I got to race with her so much, so it's it's really cool to see how well she's doing and for the KTM team and everything like that. So I definitely miss it, but I'm living the dream, being able to watch my little girl grow. So it's cool, and that's why I'm stoked on X Games, because I kind of get my side, the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah, you get to dip your foot back in that pond for a little bit.
Yeah, she says she misses it, but 2 hours into that race, on the last lap, beating through those sand.
Yeah,
there's a little voice in your head saying, "Let's stop, pull over right now and lay down." Like, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I'd like to try to make Ironman. So we made Big Buck last year. Went horrible, but that's okay. That's my own fault for being a sand in the you-know-the-huda. But yeah, I think Ironman would be fun.
It's awesome. It's the biggest turnout, and the track is phenomenal. It's just who can hold it wide open. Like,
I don't need to win.
Awesome.
I don't need to go fast. I just want to do it. I heard it's a good track.
It's called Ironman for a reason, and
Maria can back me up on that. I'm going to show up with a different mentality and better hands.
It's horrible out there. Like
I think the West Virginia one is my favorite. I mean, I've always loved the snowshoe.
Snowshoe?
Oh,
my gosh, that is terrible.
That's the one I want to do, but it's always on my wife's birthday weekend, because she's June 21st, and so it's always like in that third-ish weekend of June, and I'm like, well, this is never going to happen.
I hate it because it's like 27 hours to go there.
Well, I'm not going to lie. If I did it would be the exact way that Steven and I did it last year, and it would be the KR4, because it's too much money, it's too much time to follow the GNCC series for me from Texas, and so if I did it, I would still do that.
Well, it is a pretty place, like you said, because we were driving up, and I was like, where is this place? What the heck? And Dad's like,
up there.
No, Dad's like, you see that building up there? I was like, yeah, it's a hotel. He's like, yeah, that's where we're going. What? And seriously, you're back on the bike, like both feet down, going down these hills, and you're picking up speed with like the brakes slammed on. You're like, this is awesome.
This is awkward.
And it starts raining, and then you see this girl post, how awesome. And I was like,
and then she's like 2 minutes.
I'm like, we're gonna die. Like, somebody will literally die on a ski slope doing this.
What's funny is before I had kind of come back into doing like dirt bikes and got back and all that stuff, I actually was racing mountain bikes, and I did a couple different like nationals, kind of at the expert level.
Yeah.
Doing downhills, and I actually raced at Snowshoe in West Virginia at one of the Norba nationals, like way back in the day. And then all of a sudden it comes to find out that GNCCs go there too, and that's when I was like, I have to go there one day, because I loved. It was nasty, it was gnarly, it beat the shit out of me. I fell off my bike so many times, but I want to go there.
No, we go by those bicycle trails and stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, that's to me the only GNCC with a hill. I just remember everyone telling me,
real
watch
hill.
out for the big uphill and everything like that. And I'm like, shoot, I must have cut the course because I never saw a hill. And then we finally get to the snowshoe, and I'm like, oh, finally, there's hills and there's mud, and it's such a cool scenery being in the town and everything like that. And you start right on the road, right in that little town, and it's really pretty. And I mean, I just love it. It was gnarly.
How do you listen to that? Like, she's like,
I'm motivated by that. Like, I want to go. I want to smile and be happy with that as well. I'm like,
I'm
yes.
sorry. Don't ever come to Texas if that's your thought. Don't you will bomb Texas then if you ever rode here. Because I think when I went to Georgia, that was my first real test of hills. Because in Texas you can vouch for me. It's fifth gear. It's fifth gear sidetrack and everything, and it's awesome. And there's like no woods or anything. And
I didn't take you to TKO this summer. So
I didn't want to go.
Beat your bike.
And then like Georgia, I was like, dude, I've never hit hills with like 7 ruts in it, and it was like the biggest wake up call ever. GNCC and these people like loving it, and I'd come home and race our tracks, and I was like, this is like Pee-wee's. This is
you're like,
we call
fast,
these tracks. They have like trees overhang and stuff. Like I have to deal with like leaves laying in front of me and logs and stuff. And she's over here saying, "Oh, that was a true hill." I'm like, "No, that's a mountain."
Yeah,
that's not.
I don't remember hills in Georgia at all.
Yeah,
so.
that's a difference right there. Thanks for making that clear. Yeah,
250B rider.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, that's okay.
Joe.
Well, cool. Well, no, Maria, super, super excited. It has been fun to follow your journey, to say the least. Just as an enthusiast of the sport, because at all times you're smiling and you're having fun, and I think that's what a lot of people lose sometimes, not just in the sport but in life. And so I think that what you are able to kind of bring across in your enthusiasm with life is what a lot of people should try to follow. So good job on doing that, and just keep it up. And
good luck.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be fun. And we will be down there again. And hopefully I'll be doing some media work again for a couple different people. So if you see my camera, just smile. You know, if your helmet's on, be aggressive. Be aggressive.
And give a nice little bird to him. Just
no, she's too nice for that. She's too nice. She could give me the evil eye. Yeah. But no birdies.
Yeah.
Get her with her helmet on. It's like
that's when it turns on.
She's so nice right now, but when you get her helmet on, I was like, geez.
Oh yes, different story.
It's when the hair swoop goes away.
Exactly.
The helmet, it's on.
It's a demon under there. It's crazy.
But I think Nora and your little daughter, they would totally get along.
Kick it off,
so your husband, my wife, they could totally hang out. Mr. Mom, Mrs. Mom, they could do their thing.
Perfect.
You race, I'll take pictures, and we'll just have a grand old time down there in Austin. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it.
I like it. I like it. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate it. Sorry for taking up so much of your time, but you're a fun lady to talk to. You make us enthused, so it's a good time.
Yep.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have fun out there. And next time your husband's in one of those little bathing suits, just keep posting pictures because it makes me giggle.
Oh, yeah, I'll send them to you personally.
I mean, I'll take it. I'm in.
Oh, God. Way to end it there.
10 minutes from now, bloop! Oh, son of a, it's happening! She's like, this is his newest banana hammock. Damn it! Where do I get one? Why don't I have it? I like it. Maria, thank you very much. You have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Bye!
Bye.
No, she really is an awesome chick, and I'm so enthusiastic about her being back on the scene. For that reason, I really do think she is the true emphasis of an enthusiast of the sport. Yeah,
and for seriously, we were making jokes about her winning and everything, and she doesn't even know. But for her to get top 3, I wouldn't be surprised. I would. You can't have that much talent and you don't forget how to ride. She's just going to come out. It's going to maybe take her a few times, like she said, to get going, get the timing back. But when she does, she's just going to click like that, and it's just going to happen.
Yep. It's going to be – hopefully she finds a couple local races, maybe even a couple like local enduro.
Oh, yeah. And you know races. She will. You know she'll –
and I think she'll
KTM will hook her up and be like, hey, you can come out, back out of your practice and stuff. Because KTM wants to see that too. I mean, it's a good sponsor for them. They know Maria gives a good shout-out to them, and – just works good. And have Casey and Maria battling again, I'm going to watch that. I want to see that
Some
happen.
of us would say elbow to elbow. Some of us might say boob to boob.
It's still
could
going
go
to get
either way.
gnarly.
It's still going to be awesome, and they're way faster than me. So much,
yes.
much holla to the ladies. So thank you very much, everybody. You guys have turned in for episode 158 of Seat Time. This is the online show for the off-road enthusiasts, presented to you by Fly Racing. Man, that needs to be our new little. What do you think, Steven? Nope. All right. Negative. Shot down by the producer.
Yeah, he's not doing it.
He's okay. It's probably
If he doesn't do it, it's not going to happen.
Nope. That's very true. So, of course, Fly Racing, huge supporter of Seat Time. Can't do it without those guys. FlyRacing.com is where you can learn more about them. Or please go to your local dealer and you can ask to see some of the new Fly products. Remember Sector Boots. Go check them out. They got booties. So Kinda and their awesome tires, kindertire.com is where you can find out more about those guys. Or again, local dealers, and if they don't carry Kinda, you should ask them to do so. They are very good. Stillwell Performance is stillwellperformance.com.
Yep.
Obviously, off-road racing, there's a lot that goes on with your bike. Being able to have a good suspension setup is really going to help you to be able to have not just a faster time, but a better time. Because as he's talking about, you're going to have a lot of calluses after the 4CS. Yes, it's going to suck until I send my suspension off to Stillwell Performance so that he can do the suspension. It's going to be a lot better that way. So please go check out our supporters and support them for supporting the show. I didn't mention it at the beginning, which I should have, but YouTube does have a support the channel option now. So for those of you that have been with us this time, we would really appreciate it if you have $1, $5, $10, whatever you feel you might want to just kind of throw out there to Seat Time. There is an option to do that now on YouTube. So if you wanted to do that, we'd really appreciate it. Obviously, there are bills to pay. Steven's got gas money, all that kinds of stuff. Just make things a little bit easier in the long run. If nothing else, thank you for supporting Seat Time. We will be back here next Tuesday. We're going to get a chance to talk about all the racing that's been going on. Obviously, we're going to have more GNCC. We're going to be getting ready to. We're going to. Jordan will be in. We're going to talk about the Zinc Ranch Enduro that her and I and her family will be doing this coming weekend. Then next weekend,
I might be doing it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You might be there too.
I need to get I need to get my schedule.
Your dad said he was going to be in, but he probably just didn't look at the calendar and realize it was already a conflicting weekend.
Or we'll just do both. I don't know.
Your dad's crazy.
Yeah, he is.
And then the weekend after that, the Texas National Enduro. It's going to be a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Doing that
you
one,
can not wreck this time.
Yeah. I have to redeem myself. Yes, I do.
You're going to beat me, and I'm okay with that. Yes. That's not hard for you to do, and that's okay.
I know, right? I'm all pumped about that. I'm like,
be excited, man. Yeah. Be excited. We can high five after it later, too.
Exactly.
So, obviously, Seat Time, you can find us on all the social channels. It's facebook.com/Seat Time if you want to find us there. Twitter, or it's at @SeatTime_CO. On the Instagram, at Seat Time. Very, very simple. Remember, always enjoy a pintful of awesome. We will see you guys next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Dillon, thank you for coming in. We really, really appreciate it, sir. I know we're going to see you soon again here on the Couch of Poo. And remember, peace.